every team who has a human mascot, those mascots are scary. So you're showing it to a 2-year-old, they're gonna be like, I like the cute dog.
I'm sure Stephen A. Smith is a pretty fun person to reprimand.
Well, did you see the clip of the kids taunting LeBron? I'm
were
not
they
guessing.
Taunting him?
They didn't like.
Where's
no one.
your hair? She was like, it's not going to give us a chip on our shoulder, and it's like I wouldn't want to give Dawn Staley any bulletin board material. If the Mannings make quarterbacks, the Hurleys make coaches.
I'm Megan Gailey.
And I'm CJ Toledano.
We're stand-up comedians, we're married,
We're parents, and we're huge sports fans.
welcome to Co-Captains, a podcast that explores sports through a parenting POV.
Join us as we break down the family legacies
And cute babies.
that define the culture of modern sports. We were off the last couple of weeks, but sports was kind of down. It was post Super Bowl, post All-Star, but it is March now. This is our first episode in March. And this week, things are heating up. We've got March Madness.
Men's and women's.
Yeah. We also have the last few weeks of the NBA. So what do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about NBA? There's a lot of like parent stories happening in there with
Let's talk NBA.
I know I'm not just saying this because I'm a homer, but like LeBron, we've seen the first few weeks of LeBron and Luka. It's been great. But one of the biggest stories that is still kind of like fresh is this LeBron and Stephen A. Smith.
The reason it's still lingering is Stephen A.
Stephen A.
Yeah. He's going to talk about this forever.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it yet, but there's like been some updates here. But like, so after I think it was the Lakers-Knicks game, Lakers came back to win. It was a huge game. They won in overtime. And LeBron went over to Stephen A. Smith and essentially was just like, don't talk about my son. Don't talk about him that way, at least.
Yeah. And when headlines, I think you even told me, you were like, oh my God, LeBron yelled at Stephen A. Then you see headlines saying yelled at. I got other people texting me. And then when I saw it, I go, they could literally be talking about like going golfing the next day.
Yeah.
It was only the context given afterwards that Stephen A. was like, I'm not going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about this, which I love. And he said that. And yeah, listen, his son is in the NBA.
Yeah.
And so that does open him up to the media talking about him. Stephen A. is obviously top of that media chain and loves to talk and has hours a day to do it. And I understand that standpoint. I also understand LeBron being like, that's my son. Don't say anything negative about my son. Yeah. And in the midst of this, Bryson won a state championship.
Bryce won a state championship.
Oh, is it not Bryson?
No. Maybe it's short for Bryson.
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
I'm so sorry.
It's Bryce.
Bryce, I'm so sorry.
Don't you ever screw that up again.
I'm sorry. Where's Zuri?
I do think that the theme or like the story or the narrative that I like to pull from this is that LeBron is a caring father. Like he is in his children's lives to the point that maybe, hey, he got his first son to the NBA, but his first son is doing a pretty good job of being a pro. Like he is being put in these games as, people were saying as a victory cigar, but he's still trying his hardest. Like when the game doesn't really matter that much, he's hitting threes. Yes, it's like, we're in LA, fans are going nuts over it. But he's also putting up 30 in the G League. And then Bryce, who is transferred to a lot of high school. There's a lot of scrutiny on these kids.
3 high schools is a lot.
Yeah, but won the state championship and is contributing on that team. LeBron.
Okay, excuse me. There's another child.
Azuri, who's also killing it in her own right.
What's she doing?
Volleyball.
Okay, great.
Volleyball.
She's a
I
cutie.
think. Yeah, she's cute. I do think like the whole family has a lot of pressure, and I don't think like they can handle it perfectly. We know as parents, like there is no one doing it perfectly. And so LeBron maybe he shouldn't have gotten so emotional in the public eye after a game, but it's also like, who cares? That's how he felt. I think it's like, they won the game and he saw Stephen A. Smith and goes, I'm going to talk to him right now.
Yeah. And I'm sure, and I say this with love because I really do find Stephen A. Smith to be entertaining. I'm sure Stephen A. Smith is a pretty fun person to reprimand.
Yeah. But then also to go back to Bryce's game, state championship, LeBron is sitting courtside, like,
stressful,
which is a lot.
Oh my gosh, for even the opposing team.
Well, did you see what the clip of the kids taunting LeBron from right behind him and him just being locked in?
Their own team?
Yeah. No, I don't know if it was their own team. I'm
What were
not
they
guessing.
taunting him?
They didn't like
Where's
no one.
your hair?
No, I think who knows what they were saying, but it was definitely they're trying to get in LeBron's head.
LeBron does not care what 16-year-old Woodland Hills boys are saying about him.
But if they're talking trash about his son and he didn't say anything again, I think that's extremely impressive.
Where are these Gen Z boys getting this confidence?
Yeah, where are their parents, you know?
Because I remember my cousins, they grew up around Jordan's kids and they would play them in sports. And it was just like, oh my gosh, we've got a pitch in front of Michael Jordan. It wouldn't even be basketball and it would be like nerve wracking. I remember the weatherman in Indianapolis coming and I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope he thinks I'm good at second base.
I think, it is crazy to be playing just like amateur sports in LA and like Drake is on the sideline or like, maybe they're used to it at this point. Like the kids themselves are celebrities.
Different.
It is different.
So it's looking like Lakers are around the 4.
Yep.
Pacers are inching around the 4. A lot of congestion happening. I am excited. My expectations, unfortunately, are high just because the Pacers made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. But I'm just excited. I think these playoffs are going to be really fun.
Yes.
SGA looks like he is shaping up to be the MVP.
Okay.
That would be, if I got a vote, I would love to vote.
I think the what people are saying, I guess the debate against him is that he's sort of like he's always looking for the foul, gets in the line, and a majority of his points are from the free throw line. So, which was a James Harden problem a few years ago.
It's also a LeBron, like that is a problem of the modern day NBA star.
LeBron is going strong to the hoop.
I don't know that you're going to be able to be an unbiased.
No, I'm just saying
reporter.
from a basketball standpoint, I think there's a difference between looking for the foul and just your game is just straight to the hoop and dunking and strong
LeBron gets
moves.
a lot of calls.
Yeah, because that's his game. His game is straight to the hoop.
And that is like, you got to get the free throws are points, you know? And so it is like, at least he's making them. It's like Hack a Shack was a thing and that was criticized. It's like, you're kind of criticized free throw shooting, damned if you do, damned if you don't. He's also a star and a great passer and a great teammate and Canadian and fun and young. So it's like, if he was getting 30 points from free throw shooting and he got 32 points, that's not what it is though.
Yes. No, I am overall very excited for SGA. Like just to go back to like how he even ended up on the Thunder, he was like one of 10 pieces of a Paul George trade, who again is kind of a bummer of a story. He's out for the rest of the season.
They said the rest
Sixers
of the regular
in
season. And it's like, honey, he out for the season.
Yes.
The
So
Sixers are tough. And like, the Eagles are like, we did our part.
And that's what,
and
to
so
Philly
did Abbott
fans.
Elementary.
Yeah.
They've done what they can do.
To Philadelphians, you guys are still having a great year. Don't forget
Flying
that.
high.
You drafted Jared McCain, who is awesome.
And he will be back.
Yes.
And, boy.
But
brutal.
to go back to SGA, I think he is the MVP.
Yeah.
I don't think you can discredit him because he gets to the free throw line. And I think that is all that is, it's basketball IQ. If you know you have a type of game that you can get players to foul you and you are going and you are hitting those free throws, all part of the game.
They're the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Can we switch from NBA to March Madness?
Yes.
Okay, we're excited. We are excited.
I'm laughing because I know.
I had the brilliant idea of having our toddler fill out a bracket. I thought it was going to be really fun and a bonding experience. It took over an hour. My bracket takes 5 minutes because it's like, I've got sort of I always pick the Ivy in the first round. Like, I love Tom Izzo. I think he's an incredible March Madness coach. So it's like Michigan State's going through. At this point in your life, you sort of got your like teams that you like and teams that you're like, oh, they beat Purdue once, so I don't like them. So Conrad, I was like, okay, I'll show you all the mascots. Well, there's a lot of mascots.
How many teams are in March Madness?
68.
Yeah, 68. And so you're
there's
going,
a play-in.
What do you like better? The
blue
Bulldog
blob
or the what is it?
The blue blob of Xavier.
Yeah, versus
the St. Mary's man who looks like he maybe brought Catholicism to a place. Like,
and that's okay. Every team who has a human mascot, those mascots are scary. So you're showing it to a 2-year-old, they're gonna be like, I like the cute dog.
He kept going, I don't like that.
Yeah. He didn't understand what he was doing, and he was just like, stop showing me these strong chin mascots.
I showed him my own alma mater's mascot, and he goes, I don't like him.
Yeah.
So
just giant eyes and like
a hammer,
felt biceps,
a big hammer.
Yeah.
So Purdue's out in the first round. I was able to, when he saw the Oregon Duck, he said, is that Donald Duck? And I said, no, that's Donald Duck's brother.
Yeah.
Because and then I looked it up, and at one point, like the Oregon Duck, whoever like that character was a Disney character, and then the licensing expired in like the 30s or something.
That's kind of how like the Mighty Ducks in the NHL.
So like, I guess he is his brother.
Yeah.
And so we were able to ride through Donald Duck's brother to the national championship. But he was laying in bed 30, 45 minutes post bedtime. And I have my computer open going, do you like the Texas Tech guy? Remember him? He's got the red beard.
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, I want to see red beard guy. And it was just, there's a lot of Bulldogs.
I didn't tell you that this morning when I went to get him, when he woke up, he just said, Donald Duck gonna win?
Yep.
Donald Duck gonna win? So you've brainwashed our baby to be watching all of March Madness, hoping that
Donald Duck
Oregon
gonna win.
wins.
And the thing is, he's only halfway done. He still needs to do a women's bracket.
Oh man. Well, but I will say, like, him getting his bracket done I got to get my bracket done. If my 2.5-year-old has already got his done. So, but yeah, it's like, this is the time of year everyone's racing to get their brackets done, and no one has watched college basketball all the way.
I've watched
so this is what you got to do.
I've watched way more women's than men's. I'm not even watching Purdue because I can't. They stress me out too much.
Yeah.
And so I'm so excited for the women's tournament.
Yep.
Juju, Paige. Yep. I mean, what is Murky gonna wear? Yeah. Gino, Dawn Staley. So there's 4 number 1 seeds, but then there are overall 1 seeds. Mm-hmm. People have bones to pick. Last year, they had Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark meeting in the Elite 8. And it's like, guys, you make the bracket. You're in charge of the TV show. You can have the meeting in the Final Four or the national championship. You can at least set that up.
Yep.
And now this year they have USC and UConn on track to meet in the Elite 8. And that's the 2 biggest stars again.
Yeah. It does seem to be a problem every year where the national championship isn't the most exciting game.
No, because it's like there's not going to be a Cinderella or an upset, and that's what we're sort of looking for. Yeah. So Dawn Staley, the overall number 1 seed on the women's side was UCLA.
Yep.
And Dawn Staley took a little umbrage with that and was like, I thought we were going to be the 1 seed. We just beat Texas. They were the 1 seed. Or they were the overall number 1, like going into it. And the thing is, you gotta beat her. She was like, it's not gonna give us a chip on our shoulder. And it's like, I wouldn't want to give Dawn Staley any bulletin board material.
I just, with her, the last few years and her track record, it's like, give them any number, they're still number 1 in their hearts. So, and they know how good they are.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's no way what are they? They're the 4?
No, I think they got like 2 or 3, but they're a 1 in their part of the bracket, but they're just not the overall 1.
I just stopped keeping track or being like, oh, these conferences and the seeding, it's all accurate. The system has forever been broken or confusing.
And it's constantly moving. Especially confusing now because it's like UCLA and USC Big Ten champion. It's like, what? They're in the so it is the conference reshuffling has made it more confusing.
Yeah.
And the SEC on the men's side is absolutely dominant. They got 14 of their 16 teams in.
I'm like, we had like 2 weeks off and now we're just watching college basketball nonstop.
I can't wait. One of my best friends just had a baby. She's like, I cannot believe I timed it for March Madness. And I know so many people that have like been able to time their baby for March Madness.
Can we just all agree right now that no work across the country is getting done this week?
Let's just say in perpetuity.
Yeah, like in high school, in schools, we were turning on the television to watch these games. These games are a holiday. So if an email doesn't go answered or a deadline doesn't get met, it's fine. It's college basketball. It's our culture. All right, I did want to talk about there is just this budding bromance happening with on the Memphis Grizzlies. It's Ja Morant and Yuki Kawamura, who is the Japanese two-way player for the Grizzlies, who became like a fan favorite over Summer League. They're friends, obviously. That's been like on record. There was just a story that came out that Yuki says that the English term that he learned from Ja and he's loving saying is type shit. So just imagine this like 5 foot Japanese dude walking around saying type shit is hilarious.
Do you think Zach Edey was like, hey, I thought I was going to be
no, they're friends too.
Asian friend.
But it's just great. It's like, I do, with all the controversy with Ja and the things he's gone through.
I like Ja.
No, Ja's awesome. And like, every teammate has said nothing but great things about him. And I think it just has extended past just like, hey, he's my teammate on the Grizzlies, because there was a video or photos that came out of Yuki playing in the G League, but Ja wasn't there, but who was there was his dad T.
Yes.
And Ja's daughter Kari.
Yes.
Just courtside supporting Yuki specifically.
That's her favorite player.
Yes.
Like not even her dad,
Yeah.
not anyone else on the Grizzlies. She's like, my favorite player is this Japanese G League player who is my dad's friend. She has posters. She is so cute.
Yeah.
And I just love, like, I do think it is nice too, because of like the Ja stuff, to be like, we have seen his dad and like his dad is obvious, but to go, look, he's also a dad. Look how cute and sweet this little angel is, who is there cheering on his teammate who's in a foreign country. I mean, that is hard to be away from your family in a totally different culture and feel like you're being embraced, not only by a family, but the family of the star player. I think that's really special. Other cute content out of the NFL. I have my teams I don't like. And so they know how to get me, though. They go, look at this baby. And so it's been free agency. Guys are signing contracts. A Patriots linebacker brought his daughter, probably 5 or 6 months, just like a little pumpkin of a sweetie all around. And she's meeting all of the players. And it's like, I guess I like the Patriots.
You don't have to like the Patriots because they're nice to their kids.
I mean, it's the Steelers signed DK Metcalf. I love DK Metcalf. And then he got engaged to Normani. I love Normani.
It's
so I'm
tough.
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
a lot of players that we like went to the Steelers, and it's like, not enough.
My heart will never go there.
Yeah.
And the player who I think is like one of the most exciting just personalities of the NFL, Cam Bynum, in the secondary for the Vikings, came to the Colts. He is the choreography guru. He is the one that does all of the Vikings celebrations. So now they're losing like a great defensive player and the heart and soul of their dance team. He did the full Parent Trap handshake and half Filipino.
I will be, well, maybe not, because I was going to say I was going to get his jersey. But there is a curse that exists in our family where Megan's parents for Christmas usually give me my favorite Indianapolis pro player's jersey. And every player that they've given to me has either been traded or no longer in the league.
One of the companies came up with like a trade-in deal that like if the player got traded or
you
like
could trade in that jersey for
but it was
jersey.
like it was like 30 days like it's
and
like,
also rarely do you like in this case got those jerseys because they play for Indianapolis so
and you don't wear them anyways so
no I would have. Okay, here are the jerseys that I got. I got a Rodrigo Blankenship Colts jersey.
Okay,
where is
place
he now?
kicker
who is now doing Legos on TikTok
live. live Legos on TikTok. You like TikTok and you like Legos, so you could wear that jersey.
But he was a talked about kicker for Georgia.
Yes.
And then the Colts.
I know. And wears glasses.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why they got you that jersey.
No, it's a perfect player. Had all the elements.
And then who else they get you?
Karis LeVert.
Yes.
On the Pacers, who is now
on the Cavs.
No, he's on the Hawks. He got traded.
Karis, because he came from the Nets in that trade that like discovered he had like a heart condition.
Yeah. So
and
the
then
Pacers had saved his life.
And then they shipped him to the Cavs, and then they shipped him to the Hawks. Love
and
you, Karis.
Then I got a Victor Oladipo.
Yeah. And then you bought me a TJ Warren.
Yes.
After he had that one incredible
Listen, you do one good thing for any Indiana sports team, we're getting your merch.
We love you. Can't buy them. We are buying jerseys.
Yeah.
And I might get a little Filipino patch sewn on it. Yeah.
Thank you for your support.
And then when people see me and I'm not with you, they're going to be like, what's going on with that lady?
All right.
In the spirit of March Madness, we have a fun exercise where we are going to tell each other and you at home who are our favorite coach, player, parent, child combos.
And this, I mean, I didn't realize until we put together this list that there's been a lot of these.
Oh
these
yeah,
duos.
there's one that comes top of mind for me immediately. Homer and Bryce Drew. Valparaiso legends. And you're saying, why does Megan care about Valparaiso? My mom, Valparaiso alum. I think she, like, when it's a school that small and then they make it, they were a Cinderella. It was like called The Shot, the pacer play. It was a quick inbound 3-point shot, Cinderella victory over a 4 seed. Because that 4-13, that's a real upset alert. 12-5, those can happen. This was late 90s. Homer Drew, dad. Bryce Drew's son. Bryce Drew is now also a coach.
Yeah.
And just like, oh yeah, a small school from your state being the Cinderella that goes to the Sweet 16. You know they were wheeling in the VHS for us to watch that.
So that's your number 4.
I don't know, man.
We're doing our top 4 rankings.
All right, they're my number 1.
They're your number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're my number 1, and you know what? I'm gonna make like Paul George, and I'm gonna retire.
Okay, just to all right, we're gonna bring it back to the rankings. That's your number 4 on our list.
Okay, that's number 4 on
our
list.
List. Bryce and Homer Drew.
Bryce and Homer Drew, the Drews.
Okay. I think, and my list has been changing here, but I'm also trying to be strategic about who you might pick. This is, I would say, I'm going to go Doug and Greg McDermott.
Okay.
Now, Doug, who we all know, he's been a kind of a journeyman in the NBA.
He played on the Pacers.
He played on the Pacers. Is he still on the Pacers? I think he still is.
Happy to have you.
He was also on the Bulls, but I remember he played with his dad, I think, all through his childhood and into high school and college at Creighton. But I just want to highlight, like, Doug has been in the league for a long time, and like and then to play for your dad for most of your life, and then just be a normal functioning player in the pros and the NBA, I think that's a huge feat.
Yeah, for your dad and you.
And Creighton has always been a really good program.
It's just a name that pops up.
Yeah,
you know,
so
you hear it.
Yeah, he's taken his dad, Greg McDermott, who just keeps sounding like an actor to me. But has taken the Creighton to 2 Sweet 16s, 1 Elite 8, and was the Big East Coach of the Year in 2020.
Wow. Oh, Creighton's in the Big East. The Big East doesn't
Don't
exist
ask me
anymore.
Don't ask me. You're the conference head in this family.
Okay, my next pick then. I'm going real Midwestern.
Okay.
On this. Steve and Bryce Alford.
Ooh, Indiana legends.
So I got back-to-back dudes named Bryce, spelled Bryce. If you've ever watched Winning Time, the Reggie Miller 30 for 30. I mean, it's about the Pacers, but it's about Reggie Miller. They interview all of these
That's why I was like, do you want to bring this up and
They
shed
interview
light
all
on
these
your
Pacers
hometown?
fans because we had we didn't have the number 1 pick, but
No,
it was
you
like
had a high pick.
Hey, they're out in like a Marsh parking lot. That's a defunct grocery store. Who do you want to pick? And they're like, we want Steve Alford. They better pick Steve Alford.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love Steve Alford. He's from Indiana. And then they picked Reggie Miller, and they were like, boo, we don't want Reggie Miller.
This is the worst thing to ever happen. I feel like this is wrong to be doing this.
And
accent.
so there's billboards where Steve Alford's like hometown is. I think there's even like a Steve Alford museum. I think there's a Steve Alford like Chevy dealership. And so he was an incredible player.
Yes.
And then his son Bryce played for him. And
on the Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball teams.
Wow.
Yeah, those are big teams.
And then Bryce became the 5th leading scorer in UCLA history.
Good duo.
And I don't know where Bryce is now.
I don't know.
But we wish you well.
Yeah, the Alford family. You just hear that name all the time.
Honestly, come on over to the Gayleys for dinner.
Yeah. Okay, here is, I think, there's some honorable mentions. I'll just go through a couple of them real quick here. Honorable mention to Fran and Connor McCaffery. Am I bringing that up because Connor is dating Caitlin Clark and is on a Butler team? Yes.
Yes.
But also Fran, shout out to him, he coached at Iowa, which has always been a big school.
Yes, he's on the coaching staff at Butler. We have been able to find a way to get Indiana into all 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Butler's in Indianapolis. Shout out to my sister-in-law, Jess, who was a Division I swimmer there. Go, girl.
Here's my number 1. I don't think it can be debated. The Hurley family.
Yeah.
The Hurley family, I just learned about Dan Hurley a few years ago because I was always more focused on their dad, Bob Hurley, who is the winningest
high school coach
of all time.
Ever.
Yeah.
If the Mannings make quarterbacks, the Hurleys make coaches.
Bobby Hurley won 2 championships at Duke, and I just saw a TikTok about it, played for the Sacramento Kings, was going to be like, some say going to go down as a legendary point guard. Unfortunately, was in an accident that just was never the same again. But then is coaching, where's he coaching? Or his son Bobby? I forget where he's coaching. But is a coach, like a notable coach in college. And then obviously Dan Hurley is now one of the biggest college coaches of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Back-to-back NCAA titles.
Back-to-back. They're an 8 seed in this year's tournament. They lost a bunch of guys. Yeah. They smoked Purdue in the national championship last year. Offered the Lakers head coaching position in the offseason. Said, no, I want to stay in UConn. I want to stay at UConn so my wife doesn't have to switch hairdressers. And just an absolute stomping character.
They're having I don't even say up and down. They're just not the powerhouse that they looked the last 2 years, but they very well could still go far.
And he's been getting in refs' faces being like, do you know who I am? And I go, that's a Hurley. You better know.
And their son, Dan's son, on the team.
Yeah.
Both these UConn championship teams.
You gotta imagine their Thanksgivings are intense.
Yes.
Because like my family's intense and like none of us are even...
Do we want to have that type of household if both of our sons,
Well, my dad was our coach, coached me in softball, coached both my brothers in basketball and baseball. And he was not, and the thing is, you see it. There were psycho dad coaches. There were really blasé dad coaches. And I feel like my dad was a good midpoint. And I think you would be too. We're going to learn the fundamentals. We're going to have a good time and we're going to be good sports.
Here's my thing.
Uh-oh.
I have decided I will not coach any of our sons' teams, but our friend Jamel has said he will.
Because sometimes you're forced into it because you see who is coaching and you're like, that can't be the coach.
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
I'll be just like passing notes to Jamel being like,
no, you can't be doing that.
I'll be sitting behind the bench.
No, if you're not coaching, you're sitting in the stands with me.
All right.
Maybe third base.
Where did Bobby Jr. play? Or where's he coaching right now?
Arizona State.
Arizona State. I don't know how I forgot that.
ASU.
Yeah, ASU.
Zach Schwartz.
Our buddy Zach Schwartz
was a manager for that team.
Manager for them. I mean, they're a solid program as well.
Yeah. So now we have our own bracket of toddler good behavior.
Shout out to our producer Max for putting this together.
This is incredible.
You'll put this on screen, right? I'll put it right here just in case.
I will be taking this home and I will be filling this out, and this will be going on our fridge. I'll be bringing this up in therapy. I may be sharing this with Conrad's school to go, this could be a fun thing for you guys to do. So we've got a bunch of different behaviors going head to head. So first matchup, following instructions using manners.
Following
instructions.
Yeah.
You can correct the manners. CJ didn't know how to use manners when we got married, and now he says please and thank you 50% of the time. Sharing, taking turns, speaking kindly to others.
I think speaking kindly to others. Yes. This is also good. We're lining up on this. It's going to get dicey.
Effective conflict resolution. Literally 0 chance of that happening. So potty training success.
Yes. Because we're in that right now. That's the round that we're in.
Cleaning up toys, helping with chores.
Cleaning up toys.
Yeah.
Helping with chores.
What even chore?
Yeah, he can't lift a cereal box.
No, when he can open the trash can, we throw him a parade.
Yeah. And a reminder, there's a grandma who does parenting TikToks who we love. And she said that these toddlers have a marble and tumbleweed in their head for a brain. So yeah, I don't
She's
expect
not just
much.
a grandma. She's like a child psychology expert.
I'm like, check out this mean grandma who gives parenting advice.
Staying in bed, going to sleep alone.
Going to sleep alone.
Yeah, it's tough.
We went through that too.
Max, how did you even realize these were like tough things for toddlers to do?
I looked at some parenting websites.
Nice. These are hitting hard.
You just saw a lot of like 40-year-old people crying and you were like, okay, this resonates.
These are so close to home right now.
Playing quietly alone, eating dinner nicely.
Eating dinner. He doesn't, Conrad, like when he's playing in loud, we love that.
Oh, yeah. And he wants us to play with him. And I know that will go away someday.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I want to build a green Play-Doh snowman with him.
Yeah.
Staying calm when frustrated, hands to themselves.
I think hands to themselves.
Yeah, they cannot stay calm when they're frustrated.
Again,
and you know
they
who
have
else
a
can't?
peanut brain.
Me.
Yeah.
Apologizing for acting out, being patient. When you wait, you can play, sing, or imagine anything. That's a Daniel Tiger
Shout out Daniel Tiger.
I'm going to say being patient.
I'm going to go being patient.
Because
I can
the thing is they do bad stuff and then they go sorry and then they do it immediately again.
Okay, next round. So we go following instructions versus speaking kindly to others.
Instructions.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Because we got to get those listening ears on. Because the thing is, if they're following instructions, you can say, hey, let's speak kindly.
Okay. And then, potty training success versus cleaning up toys.
Potty training success. Because you would rather clean up toys than have pee all over your leg.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Going to sleep alone versus eating dinner. Oh, wait, no. Is that
going to sleep alone versus eating dinner nicely? Yeah. I'm going to say going to sleep alone.
Going to sleep alone. Sleep is huge. It's
and it's like if you don't want to eat your dinner, whatever, dog. Yeah. That's on you.
Yeah. These are awesome nuggets and fries. Like what?
Hands to themselves, being patient.
Hands to themselves.
Yeah, because I be getting slapped a lot.
And only her.
I am really...
Conrad is coming up to me and dapping me up, give me a hug, and then he's going and slapping his mama in the face.
Jumping on my belly, and it's like, there's a
human that's developing in there. You can't
human
fight
football, and you cannot jump on top of it.
All right.
Gate.
We're in the final four. Megan... You take it from here.
Okay, which is following instructions versus...
potty training success.
I just think following instructions is such a big umbrella.
Yes.
That like if we go, hey, let's try and go potty, then that equals potty training
And this
success.
just reminded me, I gave a lecture to our, again, 2.5-year-old. I'm like, he peed himself. And I said, dude, I told you. This is the whole thing I've been talking about. Like because what he'll do is he'll like, not listen to instructions, he'll just pee himself and look at me sad. I'm like, this is the whole listening instructions thing. And I'm like talking to him like he's like my co-writer on a TV show.
Yeah. Following instructions
he doesn't know.
Is the number one overall seed. Okay. And then we have going to sleep alone versus hands to themselves.
I think going to sleep alone.
Yeah. Okay, so
even though, man, yeah, but it crushes me when he like hits anyone. But
But it's just me.
It's mostly
and
you.
I'm even voting going to sleep alone.
Because
It's
we need sleep.
for the national championship of good toddler behavior, we have number 1 seed following instructions versus other number 1 seed going to sleep alone.
Okay, wait. Let's do it because I feel like we're really going to be, we may be torn on this. So on 3, let's say, okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Going to sleep
following
alone.
instructions.
Okay, why following
because
instructions?
if we say to him, hey, you got to stay in here and go to sleep, if he follows the instructions, he's going to sleep alone.
Okay, but like say he's not, no, but like going to sleep alone, like that's not following instructions. He's just, his brain just
I know.
randomly picks whether he's going to do that or not.
Remember when I was able to talk him back into his bed?
Yes.
It made me feel like I should write a book. And
All
I'm not
I'll
going
say-
to because I'm not annoying. Well, I am, but like not that kind of annoying. But like being able to talk a child back into their bed through an intercom, I went, I am a genius.
So that's you picking going to sleep alone.
No, it's following instructions because he listened to my instructions and I said, you are brave, you are loved. Get back in bed.
I just think, but your point is being made because they went to sleep alone.
All right, listen, you're the one that wants to sleep on the bed on the ground next
Not
to
anymore.
him for 8 hours.
Not anymore.
Then
So can we say going to sleep alone?
going to sleep alone.
Going to sleep alone at the buzzer.
So it sounds like we just want to be left alone.
No, we just sleep. As any parents will attest to, sleep is the most important and desired thing in their lives at this point. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
And we hope that this new one on the way will sleep as well as our first one.
You know the real champion of this?
What? Max.
Clutch.
Max, you got to save this for when you're a parent
This
someday.
is so good.
All right. Well, that's been a very March Madness themed episode of Co-Captains. Anything you want to part on?
I'll be in Chicago 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. And fill out your bracket with your 2-year-old. Let me know. I want to know over under 55 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to watch these games, watch the women's tournament. Purdue, I know you're going to break my heart, and that's okay.
That's it. Subscribe to Whistle for more podcasts. Keep watching us. We got new episodes coming every week.
And make sure you go pee in the potty.
Pee in the potty.
Wash your hands. Flush and wash and be on your way.